My name is Ashleigh Ewald, and I am here with the wonderful Karissa Eats.
Woo! So excited.
Yay. Thank you. I'm so excited for you to be on. Wow. Well, yeah, let's get right into it. So, first, give a little introduction about you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hi, I'm Karissa Eats, Karissa Dumbacher on Instagram. And then I've been a content creator now for 4 years, which sounds crazy. It's flown by. But I actually grew up doing theater. I got my BFA in musical theater. And then I moved to China because it was COVID and there wasn't really any live theater in the States. And I was just making like quarantine vlogs and they kind of blew up. And so I just kept the momentum going. I've always been a foodie, so I just started making food content. And then I moved to New York City. I also did a cruise contract for 6 months where I was just living on a cruise, like traveling the world. So I've been doing a lot of things lately, but yeah, I love food. I love making content and traveling and, hopefully inspiring young people, everyone of all ages. So, yeah, I just feel very lucky every day to get to do this. It's crazy. I pinch myself all the time.
Oh, no, that's awesome. Well, Carissa, I love your personality as well, and you're very positive. Like, I think everybody should travel, you know? So thank you so much for coming on. And like, shout out to Teen Magazine for making this possible. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah. Yeah, just to start off with the first one about, traveling and stuff. So from working at Universal Studios to doing food content, what's the most surprising way your background in musical theater has influenced your approach to creating engaging food videos?
I actually, okay, I love this question because when I was doing my BFA theater program, my professors would always say, like, no matter where you end up, all of these classes are going to be so helpful for you, like, no matter what fields you end up in. And we were always just like laughing it off, like, how is this 6 a.m. ballet class like going to help me, if I end up a teacher or like an accountant or whatever. So, but I feel like I constantly use the skills that I learned in musical theater because basically for 4 years we learned how to sell ourselves. So like we literally had a class where we all came together and we had to figure out what each person's brand was. And I think the art of analyzing yourself and figuring out like what you actually bring to the table and how to use that to your advantage is so helpful in every field. So yeah, I mean, and just the ability to speak in public and kind of perform to a camera or to an audience. There's so many things I learned in musical theater that I use every day.
See, I love that. That's amazing. Wow. Because like I know oftentimes people who are theater majors are like, what can I do if I don't get to theater? There are many things you can learn from that. So
Oh
thank you
my.
for saying that. And I know a lot of young people are like, oh, should I listen to my parents when they're trying to force me to go for doctors or engineering? I'm like, no, like you can make a lot out of your whatever you study, you know?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And like, do you have any like advice, for young content creators in the foodie world?
Yeah. Well, I could write a book about this, but I have a lot of advice. But I think bringing it back into what I learned in musical theater a little bit, like I feel like learning how to deal with rejection and maintain a thick skin is so important. Like, auditioning for stuff, not getting it. Like, I think so. One of the first things I would tell young content creators is that you really can't make everyone happy. Like, you can't make everyone like you. Trying to do that is honestly a waste of time. Like, all you can do is know yourself and know your brand and try to create the most interesting content you can with that in mind. So yeah, just, don't listen to the haters. They're just trolls. Forget about them.
Period. I love how you said that. That's awesome. Like, and I totally understand because like, oh man, like, as a creator, it is a lot of work. So like, that's awesome that you're saying that, and like, you're living testimony that like anyone can make it, and that you just got to stay consistent, right? Like about what you post and stuff.
For
So
sure.
yeah. So let's go back to the like kind of the beginning when you were talking about like, you know, going to China and stuff, doing quarantine, You've had such a fascinating journey. I was reading about, your journey into the content creating world. So you've had such a fascinating journey from quarantining in China to creating viral TikToks. Now looking back, what's one moment from that experience that made you realize I might actually be onto something?
Yeah. So it was a very interesting journey for sure. Like I mentioned, I started posting videos right at the beginning of 2021. So everyone was still very much in a quarantine state. Like we were all escaping to our phones and to TikTok. And I was just this random girl that moved to China during COVID. So it was a very interesting situation. Like I had to quarantine for 3 weeks, and every day we were getting our throats swabbed by people in like hazmat suits and just eating whatever meal they dropped off at our door that day. So my videos kind of blew up right away. I think my first few videos got like a few million views, and I kind of knew that I was on to something like right at the beginning. But then after quarantine was when I really had to figure out like what type of content I wanted to create and how I was going to keep the momentum going, which I think is important for young content creators as well. Like if you hit gold with something, you really have to figure out how to keep the momentum going because it's not easy. But for me, food was the immediate answer. Like I've always been a foodie. I've always been obsessed with watching YouTube vlogs, like street food vlogs in Thailand, or I was actually really obsessed with like 20,000 calorie challenges. Do you remember those like calorie challenge videos on YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah, I love those. So I think my content kind of fell very naturally into place after that. And then now, of course, I'm like pinching myself every day. Like I got to go to the VMAs. I got to like guest star on the live Try Guys tour. I've got to travel the world. So yeah, like I said, I pinch myself every single day now, but it's been crazy. It's been crazy.
That's good, and you deserve it because I love that. I love that. Like people want to be able to like feel good when they watch videos, and like you definitely do. Like when I watch your videos, I feel such a sense of like relief. Like it makes me buzzy inside because I love food. So like I feel like me, like other million viewers are like, oh my gosh, I love your content because it's good. It's a feel good. It's wonderful.
There's
So
enough negativity in the world, you know?
yeah, exactly. And when you talk about food, it's like, oh, period. It also encourages people to like want to eat things that they want to eat and like explore food, like have a healthy relationship with food. So
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Mm. So like going back to like, your food and stuff, like with your posts and stuff. So baking is your go-to de-stressor I was reading about. So what is your ultimate comfort food to bake? And do you have any hilarious behind the scenes baking disasters to share?
Yeah. Yeah, I love baking. And as far as my go-to comfort food, all of my friends, my neighbors, my family members will tell you that I make the best chocolate chip cookies in the world. I think I've posted about this before, but the keys, so I'll share them with you now. You have to brown your butter, you have to toast your walnuts, you have to
Okay.
chop your own chocolate, and then you have to let your dough rest. So if you do all of that, plus like some dark brown sugar and everything, then yeah. I mean, it's a science. That's the thing about baking. It's a science. So luckily, I haven't had too many baking disasters, but I have definitely begun posting a lot more cooking videos lately and cooking content and learning how to like develop recipes and create viral food hacks. So that's definitely been a learning experience. And I feel like if I had to think of probably the craziest thing that's happened to me is I did learn that there is such a thing as too much spice. I love spicy food, but I put two Buldak hot sauce packets in this like dumpling noodle recipe that I was making, and I almost died.
Oh no.
Not really, but we're learning, we're growing. So yeah,
Mhm.
I love that cooking is definitely a learning process for sure.
That's awesome. That sounds so good too, for real. Oh,
Mhm.
that's awesome. And so, yeah, you've also explored so many global cuisines, from Jamaican to Chinese. What would you be your recommendation, if you had to recommend a single dish for someone to try from any country you've lived in or visited? What would it be and why?
Without a doubt. Hands down. Okay, the best single dish I've ever eaten was these sesame Sichuan noodles that I ate in Chengdu, China. I believe the place is called Shangqi noodles. And they just had this like incredibly flavorful blend. It was like the nutty sesame flavor, the spicy, like numbing Sichuan flavor. Oh my God, I think about them all the time. But really just any food from Sichuan, China. It's actually our dream to go to Chongqing, which is like the cyberpunk futuristic city. I don't know if you know about it, but it's in this super mountainous region. So the city kind of developed vertically. So you don't know if you're on the ground floor. Like you think you're on the street, like you're on a road, and then you walk over to the edge and you're like 12 stories up. And the whole place lights up at night. So it's also called the Electric City. And that's like number one on our bucket list for where to go.
That's awesome. That sounds so fun. I love that. Sesame smells so good.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
love
cannot
it.
go wrong with that. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And so, yeah, just in general, you've had such a unique transition into content creation. And now that you've established a strong following, what's the next big dream or project you want to work on in the food industry?
Yeah, so going all the way back to my major in theater, I would really actually love to get into the TV world a little bit more and be able to kind of combine my performing arts background with digital content. I especially want to get into unscripted content and hosting. I just like, I admire these incredible food shows so much. Like, Somebody Feed Phil is the most heartwarming show on Netflix. I swear to God. Like, Phil is so sweet. And I just think we as an audience get to experience so much joy out of watching him enjoy life and food and friends. And I would love to bring that same joy to an even bigger audience as well. So definitely like food, TV hosting. And then I'm also launching custom travel guides because I get so many DMs every day asking for recommendations in New York City. So we created these custom guides that will actually cater to each individual and what you want to get out of your time in New York City. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm launching that hopefully like this week, maybe. So yeah, that should be fun.
Dude, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's so awesome. For Oh, I love it when you do that. That's so good because like, oh my goodness, as people like travel and stuff, they're looking for that, like recommendations to have, and that's awesome. So that's really good. Yeah. And so, yeah, your quarantine TikToks were born out of boredom or like, just trying to adjust to the like digital world and everything. But what's something fun or unexpected you learned about food through all the content creation? Has it changed how you view food or eating?
Um, for sure. I also love this question. Yes, creating food content has 100% changed my views on food and eating. Like after eating your way around the world, you begin to understand that food is so much more than just food. It's an essential part to every culture. It's a way to express yourselves and connect with each other and just like pass on heritage even. So I definitely view food differently, but I've also gone through my fair share of struggles, like I feel like everyone has with eating and body image. And knowing that there's like a little girl out there who's seeing my content and deciding to love herself a little bit more today, like, oh, I just can't express how grateful I am for the opportunity to spread body positivity and self-love. So in some ways, I think that I view food more as a tool to like spread a certain message and just try to help people love yourselves more because we're allowed to eat and we're allowed to take up space and yeah, we're all beautiful. So
I
yeah.
love that. That's so good. No, that's so good. And I'm glad you said that too. Because like a lot of people, like, when they have a platform and stuff, they sometimes forget to like use it in a good way. And I just love that you show young people and stuff that, you can build self-love and to use your platform to upbring people and uplift them. So I really like that. Like your food content has a positive meaning behind it. I think that's powerful.
I mean, I'm just lucky to be here. But yeah.
No, that's awesome. And so yeah, like so I think that our last question, tough one, forgive me.
I know.
But if you could sit down for a meal with any celebrity or food icon, who would it be? And what would you eat together?
That is such a hard question. Because there's so many. Like, Amelia de Moldenberg from Chicken Shop Date. I want to take her on like a fried chicken journey through New York City.
Period.
And then I want to take Gordon Ramsay on like a tour of the best beef Wellingtons in New York City. I think that would be fun.
That would be funny.
I also want to take Brittany Broski kombucha tasting because she has that viral meme. I love her so much. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I just want a dinner party. I want to invite them all, and then I'll just make them my chocolate chip cookies, and it'll be great.
That's awesome. That is amazing. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. I mean, that's a pretty good response. I mean, it's hard because there are a lot, but that's pretty good response. That'd be cool. And I feel like that you and Gordon Ramsay could one day like literally bake together. Like that'd be cool.
let's do it.
But anything
Gordon,
is possible. Anything is possible, you know? So I'm just like, yes, I think you can do it. Yeah. But yeah, so do you have any last remarks for young audiences, like people who might want to get involved in the food industry, content creating or anything like that? Any
yeah,
advice?
for
Yeah.
sure. If you want to be a content creator, consistency is key these days. Everybody wants a lot of content and they want it fast. So you kind of have to work really hard because it is such a saturated industry, but it's anything is possible. Like I would say find your niche,
Mhm.
find your hook and really focus on that. Know yourself, know what kind of content you want to create and stick to that. Try other things out, of course, along the way, but I don't know, just go for it. You never know. Just try. It'll work out, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's good. No, that's perfect. Yeah, consistency is key. So I'm glad you said that. That's like definitely a thing. Because I think it's all about like strategies and stuff like that as well, but it is consistency, like constantly having a flow of how you publish, what you're posting, and all of that. Yeah.
For sure. And like,
Oh,
don't give up, like if something's not working, you can pivot. You can try something else. Like you're not pigeonholed, but also pigeonhole yourself sometimes. It's a tough industry, but anyone can do it, so it's fine.
yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Karissa. And uh you're definitely proof. So I really appreciate it a lot. But anyhow, guys, do not forget to follow Karissa how do you say your last name?
Dumbacher, yeah.
Dumbacher. All right, good. I was right. So
There
follow Karissa Dumbacher on Instagram. And don't forget to follow me on Ashleigh Ewald official on Instagram. And don't forget to follow Karissa Dumbacher on Instagram and subscribe to her YouTube account, Karissa Eats. Yes. All
you
right.
go. Yay.